February 13th, the Big Meech home benefit
here.
concert. It's gonna be iconic.
I'm
Too
back.
many names to list. Biggest boss Ricky Rozay just got word. Meech concert not happening tonight, but 3:05, it's going down at the office. Meet us there. Bam. Yeah, that might be why when I stood next to Meech, your knees buckle. Your knees buckle. Put your back against the wall.
It's a large Meech, scolding Rick Ross for leaving him after promising him the world. And in all honesty, Meech isn't just upset, he's enraged. Meech and Rose collaboration was more than simply music. Rick Ross was a master of his craft. Meech was greeted home with a complete performance, a new show, and a bigger budget when Rose arrived. Ross has since disappeared, but that sounded great at the moment. If we have any knowledge about Big Meech, it is that he never tolerated betrayal. Even worse, Rick Ross was frightened to go out there after not fulfilling his commitments. Ever since the legendary Meech joined Rick Ross for that welcome home performance, 50 Cent has been after him. He was constructing this enormous deal on Instagram when Meech first departed because Rose had big ambitions for him. The concert to welcome home something with the capacity to entirely change the game. It was promised that Big Meech would receive a portion of the ticket sales, and let's be honest, that was going to be a big bag. But what do you think? Nobody else has that type of pull, let's face it, and that concert never happened. Federal officials allegedly sent letters to cancel the event for that reason. If it's true, 50 did it to get revenge on Rick, since many people are saying he was the one who pulled those strings behind the scenes. 50 did not acknowledge his involvement, but when Boozy B discussed it in a Vlad TV interview, he was undoubtedly joking. To make fun of the whole scenario, 50 posted on Instagram, saying, "Hey, I'm just asking for a friend." Does this imply that the show will not air?
I'm at the Louis store. I'm like, what the I could have saved this $5,000 outfit.
Remember how 50 anticipated this? Then, as if he wasn't laughing at the whole thing, he denied any involvement, claiming it would be shut down before it actually happened. Even worse, it got worse when Big Meech was severely hurt and everything fell apart. In the idea of utilizing Meech as a pawn to get back to 50, Rick Ross lurked in the shadows without doing anything. Tammy Cowens, who has been accused of being a federal informant, was recently featured in a photo that 50 Cent posted. Not only that, but he also shared some alleged text conversations that were exchanged between the two of them. 50 questions Meech in the messages about whether she was aware that she was collaborating with the federal government while he was behind bars. And what did she say? Yes, she gave him further details. It had 50 captions. Mech was already being investigated by 50 for snitching accusations just this week. He simply said, "Listen to the words big screech. The truth is coming soon, and you keep forgetting that you told Tammy the truth." In addition to making sure to tag all of his iconic 50 brands, Cowens told you to get your time cut, sucker. Not only 50 though have stated this. Blue Da Vinci and Cuffy have also come forward to claim that Big Meech is to blame for their incarceration. He allegedly utilized Tammy Cowens as a third-party informant, so this whole screech controversy isn't simply a wild notion 50 made up for influence, they say. After a minute, it seems as though there might be a lot more to this narrative than Meech is willing to admit.
He said, how did Meech have information on you and give it to Tammy so you could get caught up in it? How did that happen? So that means you got to go back to the movies.
Okay, so
Right, that's that.
Tammy was trying to get Suarez.
Oh, Meech and Tammy was trying to get Suarez.
Exactly. But when the government found out she was in contact with me, they
50 Cent also went ahead and called attention to Lil Meech. Before all of this drama, 50 Cent was really investing heavily in Lil Meech, overseeing his business, paying for his acting lessons, and getting him ready for his part in the BMF series. You might remember the time when there were reports that Lil Meech was abusing drugs. it cost 50 individuals to pay for his rehab. That was the depth of the connection.
The bad along with the good and show us crew up know how to be.
However, 50 cut them all off as soon as Big Meech started flirting with Rick Ross after switching sides. Rather than remain silent, he clarified it that he was canceling the BMF show, which is essentially where Lil Meech earns his living. To make matters worse, 50 has consistently been petty with the promotions, putting Meech and his son in danger of becoming bankrupt. Every time Lil Meech tweets about BMF, he blurs and alters his face, eliminating him from the public eyes since the Welcome Home concert disaster. Rather than merely admitting his failure, Rick Ross went on to say that he would produce his own BMF event. And this time he would claim that the production will have a budget exceeding $50,000.
Acting must just be reading lines off of paper like something like this. And when I get there, like, hey, don't look at the paper. Imagine your mom and dad in a casket right now. You in a funeral.
That was the intended purpose of Big Meech's hail. But like everything else Ross promised, the show never came to pass. It was all talk. And now for the real kicker. Mary could have gotten a lot of money if Ross had actually kept his word to her. Meech is still broke, and to make matters worse, 50 Cent continues to harass him online. The TV and film rights to the Black Mafia family storyline are owned by 50 Cent, so Rose couldn't even legally do this without consulting him. The Rick Ross hasn't even made an effort to defend Big Meech, but he was quite outspoken about using Meech's name to bring it to 50. But now when people are silently closing their barriers, let's face it, this is precisely the reason 50 Cent has been ridiculing Rick Ross for years. Fifth says Ross just talks about him to stay in the spotlight and that he has to bring up 50's name every time he wants to be popular. Clearly, Rozay joined the BF wave to return at the age of 50.
Lackluster, small budget series, now it's time.
Additionally, Rick Ross recently made the surprising decision to go at 50 again, but this time he brought up the late mother of 50 Cent. In a video that he posted to his Instagram account, Ross boasted that he was the only one who ever effed 50 Cent up. He even included Tony Yayo in the argument, saying that he had warned 50 that he was making a mistake.
When things get bad, you mention me. His cousin first.
Not content, however, Ross went on to ridicule Uncle Murda and Yayo, claiming they were elderly and in need of facials. Let's face it, Ross hates the fact that Yayo has always stood by 50, which is day one loyalty, and Yo responded, of course, that he was accustomed to getting drawn into a conflict with FIF because of their strong friendship and loyalty.
Oh, that they say I was the only person that 50 Cent up. I ain't know that. I'm gonna be honest. Tony Yayo told.
Rose's strategy altered as he went well below the belt, and he started making fun of 50 Cent's business activities. His target this time was the Louisiana project for Gunit Studios, which he said he was unable to finish due to his financial situation and the refusal of banks to lend him money. Interview 8.
Tony Yayo said, I wouldn't do that if I was, because Tony Yayo know them niggas ain't got no money. Come on, man, look at Tony Yayo and Auntie. Them niggas.
When Rick Ross was a special guest on the Millennium Tour, 50 Cent made fun of him and wouldn't let him get away with it without a response. For 50 Cent, this lineup is more than just a sentimental throwback to the 2000s, but it is for most others. Alongside Trey's Boozy Baz P.E.S., Bow Wow and Amarian are included as co-headliners, along with the Yin Yang Twins. Ross joins Ray J, Bobby V, and Pleasure P as a special guest. As a so-called rap being developed under Bow Wow is, let's face it, absurd in the end, FIF saw this as a clear sign that Rick Ross isn't the powerful person he claims to be. This entire situation started because Rick Ross was unable to stop saying 50 cents, yet Big Meech was the one who was impacted in the end. During the BMF era, he was ruthless and would come for anything you owed him. Rumor has it that Rick Ross is anxious behind the scenes because he is aware that Big Meech and the actual BMF members could suddenly show up. Regardless of how they go about it, someone will expect answers, and if that happens, Let's just say Rose might have irritated the wrong person.
The film studio out there in Louisiana where that cheapest land at, you thought you was gonna be able to do it. You thought you was gonna be able to get them loans, and it ain't. What's wrong?
The main question of the day is if Rick Ross is indeed freaked out over the possibility of Big Meech coming to collect. Is playing both sides too much for him? Do you believe 50 Cent is just starting out, or will he ever let this go? I would appreciate it if you could share your thoughts in the comments area below regarding this disaster. For the next saga update, please click like, subscribe, and turn on notifications while you're at it. Additionally, remember to view the subsequent film that plays on your screen to realize that this is far from the end.